So I was talking to an 8-figure CEO, and I was inspired to share with you today what I shared with them. Now, at our agency, we are paid a significant amount of money to help solve lead generation and customer acquisition problems. And the funny thing is this 5-part framework that I'm going to share with you will help you generate leads so easy on social media that it's probably going to feel illegal. Welcome back to the episode. We are here to talk about how to shift your mind so you can shift your results. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to shift your mind on lead generation on social media ads. And I'm going to do so in such a way that I'm going to give you a 5-part framework that I shared with an 8-figure CEO not long ago. I'm going to get right to the goods. Before I do, let me share the first thing with you that is a bit of a mistake that I want to make sure you're clear on before I get into the 5 steps. The mistake that a lot of people are making, 7- and 8-figure CEOs, as well as people that are just getting started, is they forget that the social media ad auction also has an algorithm that's built on behavior and engagement. What do I mean? Well, the better your ad is at attracting the right person and pushing away the wrong person, the smarter the ad auction and algorithm gets. This is a behavior game. If you get the behavior wrong because you don't take these 5 steps to heart, then your leads are going to be garbage, right? The people aren't garbage, it's just that they're not the right people for your product or service. Let's get into it right away. Step number 1 is what we call the call out. When you start with social media ads, it's imperative that you call out to the perfect right person. Not just the perfect right person, but you also want to pair that call out with the perfect right problem that person has, right? What is important about this? This is either in your video creative or in your image creative or in your ad copy or post text creative if we're talking about ads on LinkedIn or Meta or Instagram, etc. Okay? The call out matters more than anything. Why? If you happen to sell to business owners, but you happen to sell to 7- and 8-figure business owners, then you should say that in the very first line, whether it's in your video or whether it's in your ad copy. If you don't sell to businesses under $1 million or 500,000 or startups or sole practitioners, then it's important to make sure that you call out to the right person. You don't say who you don't help, you say who you do help, okay? If you're in a local market, for example, let's say you're in a neighborhood in a city and you have a brick and mortar location, you don't necessarily want your ads going to the entire population of your city. Maybe your city has a 50-mile radius. Well, maybe it's not practical for someone to get in their car and go 50 miles to your location. But you definitely want to call out to the community that you serve. I used to do this in real estate way back in the day. When I ran mortgage loans and I was in the real estate industry, this is well over a decade and a half ago, we called it farming. And what we wanted to do was make sure we said, hey, if you're a resident of XYZ community, hey, if you live in XYZ city, if you are XYZ prospect, the call out is important. Why? Because you want the wrong person or the person who doesn't identify with that call out to skip the ad. You want the right person to engage further. The reason why is the algorithm and the ad auction on these social media platforms, they operate on the behavior. So some of you are chasing the wrong metrics. You're chasing the click-through rate. You're chasing how many people hit like, comment, and share. And all of it, as I think about King T'Challa from Black Panther, when he was coming back after Killmonger had threw him over the cliff and he went to see the ancestors and he said, "You're all wrong. You're all wrong." Now that's a terrible job. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Love you to death. But you're wrong. You don't chase stupid metrics, okay? The call out is number 1. Let's get to number 2. Number 2, you must describe exactly how they feel. Number one, you call out. Number two, you describe exactly how they feel. How can you do that? Well, the only way you can describe exactly how they feel is if you know exactly how they feel. And that means you would have done what we call the 11 o'clock exercise. You would have done your work around the pain pleasure principle. You would have done your work to figure out the problem that precedes the purchase. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, scroll up to a couple of episodes and you're going to learn more about that, or join our inner circle community and you can learn more about that on a month-to-month basis as we teach all of our clients our exact methodologies and frameworks. Now, you must, after the call out, describe exactly how the person feels. Why? Because the person only cares about themselves. They don't care about your stuff, your product, they don't care. They care about how they feel, right? There's an old adage or an axiom that goes, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I don't understand. They don't care how much you know until you guys get it. Look it up online somewhere. I'm sure ChatGPT will tell you all about it. The point is, they care. You gotta know what's going on with them so that you can pull them from scrolling, right? There's a lot of advice about you gotta get your thumbnail right, you gotta stop the scroll, you gotta catch their attention. And I believe you can catch their attention the best when you describe their problem as well as they're talking about it in their head to themselves, okay? That's step two. Step one, call out. Step two, describe the problem that they're facing just as if they were describing it to themselves in their head. Step three in the process to generate leads in such a way that it might feel so illegal. It's so easy it feels illegal sometimes. And that is you have to challenge them, right? It's funny because in the world of sales, there's this thing called the challenger sale. There's a framework called the challenger sale. Now that book came out way after I was trained in sales. But the reality is when you have your perfect prospect, through the call out, you've described how they feel, which means that they have a problem and you think you can solve it through your product or service. It's really important that in your copy, in your ad, that you challenge them to take the step to solve their problem, right? Now, here's the problem that most people have that run into. The mistake is they assume that if they've got the right call out and speaking to the person's right problem, they got the right person with the right problem, they understand how that person feels, is they think that the person wants to go from scrolling their device at night after dinner to buying your product or service. And I can assure you, my friend, not many of them have a credit card in their hand when they're scrolling the device. Yeah, you might say, Darrell, they can use Apple Pay or Google Pay and all this. I hear you. But my point is, you have to challenge them and make sure that they understand that there's a risk of them staying in their current state or current situation in their current problem. That's the job of the ad. The job wasn't just to get their attention. The job wasn't to get a like, comment, or share. The job was to reach the right person. If you want to sell something, that is. By the way, I'm talking to people if they want to sell something here. If you want to have your product or service help people, you're going to need to challenge them to move away from the current state of their problem, right? Step 4, you're going to need to elevate. You can't just beat them over the head with the problem. You've got to elevate their belief in a better state, right? One of my mentors years and years ago used to say, you're meeting your prospect in hell and you've got to paint a picture to them of paradise, okay? You've got to show them how to get over the top of the mountain to the other side of the prize. They don't know what's on the other side. They just know that they're the person with the problem, and you've described it, congratulations, but have you painted a picture? We use this in our agency all the time. Did your ad paint the picture of the promise that'll take them to the prize, right? By the way, I didn't make that up. I say that all the time. The point is, you guys, lead generation gets easy when you understand human psychology. But if I'd have started the video with human psychology, you'd have turned it off, right? The bottom line is the better you understand the psychology of your buyer and the psychology of the buyer's journey and the psychology of how they're operating on social media, you'll get it. But you've got to excite them in step 4 as to there's a better way than the current state that you're in, right? That means you might show proof. That means you might show customer testimonials. That means you might articulate your unique way, kind of like I'm doing with you here. I'm articulating the unique way that we think about doing social media lead generation that's so easy that sometimes it does literally feel like it's illegal. And let's bring it home with step 5. This is the one that many of you are going to be challenged with. And that is, I'm gonna read it right off here because it's a couple sentences. Number 5 is offer them a logical next step to help them solve a problem that's a part of the entire problem. Y'all don't even know what I'm talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? Okay, y'all don't even know what I'm talking about. Most of you guys are trying to sell your thing from a social media profile. By the way, if you're selling $6 things or $2 things, this is not TikTok shop marketing. I'm not talking about TikTok shop, y'all. TikTok shop, by the way, I don't even know if it's going to be around when this video comes out because they're talking about banning TikTok in the United States. But anyway, we're not talking about TikTok shop, y'all. We're talking about high ticket services, product services, home services. We're talking about real purchases, right? Coaching, consulting, law, legal services, accounting services, all those kinds of things, right? Okay. You're going to offer them a complete solution to one problem that's a part of the whole problem. Now, here's the part y'all gonna mess with me. This is a lead magnet for many of you marketers out there. I hate the phrase personally, but you've got to get them to stop and take a step towards you. But you've got to get them to take the most next logical step away from the awareness that you met them as the right person who has the right problem. You've described it well, the way they've talked about it in their head. You've showed them proof that other people have had results from what it is that you do. And the goal is then to invite them to take the next logical step. And here's what's funny. We had a meeting the other day with one of our clients, and I said this, and I'd never said it before. I believed it, but I'd never really articulated it. And here's what's interesting. The next logical step is not necessarily the product or the service or the purchase, it's clarity. The next logical step might be just helping them get clarity. Clarity, Darrell, what are you talking about clarity? Like, it might be that you invite them to a webinar. It might be that you invite them to watch a video. It might be that you invite them to join your email list. It might be that you invite them to download a 7-part, email series. It might be that you invite them to join your community. It might be that you invite them to just come take one next step of clarity. It's easy in the medical industry, right? If someone's not feeling well for some kind of reason, or they have some sort of injury, they don't just run to the operating table. They go see the doctor and they get an x-ray. They go get an analysis. They go get an assessment. They go get checked out. They go get a prescription. And sometimes that prescription is the clarity that they need before they make the decision to make the purchase. Okay? So the 5 steps that we use, it may sound silly, and I'm not joking, you guys. We turn campaigns on in some cases, and it literally sometimes they start from day one. And by the way, this isn't a 7 and 8 figure company only scenario. I have had 2 very specific case studies where members of our inner circle have started from scratch, who've never run ads before, and within days they were getting leads, and they'd never ran an ad on a Meta or Instagram or LinkedIn platform prior, because we did those 5 steps. Here they go. Call out to the right person, so you make sure that the right person clicks on the ad so that the algorithm learns that that's the right person. Whether they convert or not is not material. Number 2, describe their reality so that they know that you know what's going on in their head. Step 3, you're going to challenge them to take a step away from their problem and take a step towards what could be what I said at the end, which is clarity. Step 4, you've got to excite them to make sure that they know that you can take them from, as one of my mentors said, from hell to paradise. It was one of the easiest analogies to draw the picture. Take them from hell, get them to paradise. What's it going to take? Can you excite them that you can get them over the hump? The last part is then to invite them to take the next logical step towards away from the problem into a process that'll lead them to the thing that they want. You would call it your prize. In their case, that could be clarity. It just could be clarity. Don't overthink this, you guys. Listen, we love lead generation. We love conversion. We love digital marketing. We love it all. We love helping companies re-architect their growth in these modern digital platforms. And listen, it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. Everybody's got their own platforms. We don't know what Meta and Instagram are going to do. We don't know what Elon's going to do with TikTok, with X. We don't know what's going to happen with TikTok as of right now at the time of recording this. By the time this episode comes out in the United States, TikTok may be gone in the United States before this episode comes out. So we may conversate about that. But we don't own these platforms. What we have to understand is the people that we want to reach are on these platforms. And if we just understand a little bit of human psychology, we can create leads on social media so easy that it might feel illegal. So listen, there's two things you can do. We invite you to take one of two of these paths if they feel appropriate. Number one, we would love to have you inside of our next live training, inside of our inner circle. You can see the link below if you want to come in and take a free trial, look around, spend some time with some of our community members and attend one of our live trainings. Or number two, if you're a 7 or 8 figure company and you need some assistance, you need a team, you need a strategic leader sitting next to you, if you're the founder, CEO, if you want a different perspective, if you just want us to audit what you have going on, because sometimes all we have to find is one little hinge that'll swing a big door, just be sure to reach out. We've got a link down below to reach out to the agency, book a time with us, and we'll have a conversation about your current situation and how to take you from where you are to where you want to be. Listen, at the end of the day, if neither of those two work for you, we'd love it if you've stuck around this long. Hit the like, hit the follow, drop us a comment if you've got any questions about this, and be sure to not miss our next episode, and we'll be back real soon. Until then, as we always say, shift your mind so you can shift your results. I'll see you later. Peace.